This is VVVVVV. This is the most popular editor for V6 custom levels. It is a fully fledged editor which supports everything V6 supports plus additional features. This video is the start of a series where I explain how to create custom levels, with this first video being about the basics of using VVVVVV. This is the level select interface. It is the first thing you'll see when you open the program. The interface has a lot of buttons and text, however the main thing we are going to be focusing on for now are the new level button and the level selection window. When you click the new level button, it creates an empty level. When you select an existing level, you open said level for editing. For this video, we are going to be creating a new level. Immediately, you are brought to a new screen. This is the room editor. A room in V6 is a 40 by 30 grid of tiles, each 8 by 8 pixels, which equals to the game's internal resolution, 320 pixels by 240 pixels. A room can contain solid tiles, which the player can walk on, non-solid tiles, which the player can walk through, hazards, which the player will die if they touch, and other objects. Rooms can have a room name, which are displayed at the bottom of the screen. You can change the room you're in by using the arrow keys or using the map, which we will touch on later. The left panel is the toolbox, the middle panel is the room, the top right panel is for global options, and the bottom right panel is the room options. The toolbox is where you can select tools which let you modify the room's contents, whether it's tiles or entities. You can use these tools in the room panel itself. I will be explaining what each tool does later in this video. The top right panel is where you edit global settings. You can playtest, create a new level or load one, save your current level, undo and redo, cut, copy and paste, etc, etc. The bottom right panel is where you change room options. The bottom half of the panel can change depending on what tool you have selected. Now we'll go over tools and what every tool can do. Tools can have subtools which change the behavior of the tool. You can access tools and subtools by pressing their respective hotkeys or clicking on them. Pressing 1 will bring you to the wall tool with 9 subtools. They're all pretty self-explanatory except for the custom brush size, which has more features than the name suggests. You can right-click the tool to set the size. Pressing Shift will turn it into a selection tool where you can use it as a stamp. This also functions in the Direct Mode tile picker, where Direct Mode will be explained later in the video. Pressing 2 will bring you to the second tool, being the background tool. It works the same as the wall tool, however it places backgrounds instead. Pressing 3 brings you to the spike tool. The direction they face depend on the tiles around it. If a spike is facing the wrong way, you can use direct mode to place them correctly. Pressing 4 brings you to the trinket tool. There is a maximum of 100 trinkets in a level. Pressing 5 is the checkpoint tool. The second subtool can place them upside down. Pressing 6 lets you place disappearing platforms. Pressing 7 is the conveyor tool. Pressing 8 is moving platforms, where the subtool lets you choose the direction. The bottom right panel has a speed selector and it lets you change the boundaries the platforms are allowed in. Pressing 9 is the enemy placement tool. You can choose the direction, like with platforms, but you cannot change the speed. You can choose how they look and change their boundaries as well. Pressing 0 gives you gravity lines. The subtools are whether they're horizontal or vertical. Pressing R lets you place text in a room. Pressing T is the terminal placement tool. Scripting will be covered in a later video. Pressing 9 is script boxes. They get destroyed after usage. Pressing U is warp tokens, which you have to place both an entrance and an exit. Pressing I is the warp line. It can only be placed on the edges of the screen. It's partial room wrapping if the name isn't clear. For example, if the player goes through one, they will appear on the other side of the screen. Pressing O lets you place down crewmates. When they're all collected, the level ends. Pressing P lets you place the player's spawn position when the level is first loaded. With the tools out of the way, we can now talk about the room options panel. Tiles are normally auto-tile, but you can change the room to direct mode to change the mode. My version of VVVVVV says manual, however if it hasn't already, it will be renamed to direct mode to match V6. Direct mode lets you place any tile you want using the room's tileset file. There are 2 tileset files, tiles.png and tiles2.png. The space station uses tiles.png, where every other tileset uses tiles2.png. Your room can only use one of the 2 available tileset files. To select a tile, you can either use the panel in the bottom right or click the Show All button. Now let's talk about the top right panel, and go over things which might not be self-explanatory. The first icon is the playtest button, which opens V6. You have to be using a version of the game which is 2.3 or above, which you are most likely using anyway. Here we have the map, which lets you view all rooms in your level. You can click on a room to go to it, and there's a few other useful options here as well, such as viewing all crewmates, or trinkets in a level, or finding the start position. The level notepad is just a place to write notes. You can use VED formatting, which is outlined in the help page called Formatting. That is it for the main room editor, which has quite a lot of features. In the next video, I will be covering some more advanced features which may be used to spice up your level. I will also be covering asset modding, so stay tuned. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any suggestions, please leave them in the comments. Thank you.